All right, thank you all so much for being here, and good luck to Coach Cross this year in the women's program. Got a good relationship, very good relationship, great working relationship. That makes it great working with him. He's very easy to work with, so uh, it's not always like that. So very fortunate for that. But thanks for being here. It's great to get another basketball season started. Really looking forward to the opportunity that this season presents us. It's an opportunity for us to grow, continue to grow as a program, continue to grow as a coach. And, my one lone senior is over there, Dexter Fields, and that's a little bit different than in the past, but I think it's a good thing. I think we got some very good youth that I'm really excited about, that our staff's excited about, and I think that our biggest goal for this team is to see where we're at right now, October the 30th, and where we can be February, as we go down the stretch run, because right now we only have 9 guys. We have 9 guys right now. We had the loss of Zay Jackson, which we have to move forward now. So we won't talk much about that at all during the season. TJ won't be eligible till Christmas, and Justin Seymour is not eligible till next year. So, you look at those 3 guards. Those are 3 pretty good players. So, but with the 9 that we've got is what we're locked in right now. We were fortunate to have a scrimmage this past weekend, learned a lot about our team, and we've come back with a different focus, I think, Monday and Tuesday. I think they're slowly starting to understand. That's a good thing about the scrimmages when you're playing against another Division I school is how hard do you have to play and how much it's good for the coaches to see how much we still have to teach these guys. I wish we had a couple more weeks before our first exhibition game, before our first real game, but that's not the case. We open up Saturday. It'll be, playing these NAIA games, you have to play a little different at times. We'll play more traditional this year at times with a big lineup. But when you're playing these games, they sometimes end up with 4 guards on the floor, and they can spread you out. So it'll be interesting to see how we adjust to that. But that'll be a great learning curve. They've got an All-American post guy, Kyle. I don't even know his name yet. I haven't even started looking at him. More worried about us. But he sat out last year. He averaged 22 and 7 as a junior, but a good player. So it'll be a good test for us. But, just going down the roster, Dexter Fields, a senior, our lone senior, has had a good fall, a good preseason so far, shooting the basketball well. The biggest thing we need from him, leadership, toughness, and ability to make shots. Then we go down the line. We've got a lot of newcomers, Jarvis Williams, Jonathan Farrell up front. 2 junior college kids that I'm excited about. Do they have a long way to go still? Yes, they do. But that's normal for junior college kids, understanding the transition from JUCO to D1 and then understanding our defensive principles and our system. But they can score around the basket, and that's one thing that's crucial for any post player. We just got to get them sold out totally on the defensive end. And then our other 2 post players, sophomores Zay Henderson and Teron Gilmore. Zay Henderson has made a lot of strides, really understands, has a good understanding of the game, so that helps a lot. And Teron Gilmore, very talented. We just got to put him in positions out there to be successful. Talented, very with his athleticism. Then we look at the guards. Cameron Payne, I start at the point. Cameron Payne will most likely start at the point for us on Saturday. Has had a very good fall. Everybody, I'm going to say the same thing about everybody. They need to get better defensively. Cameron has a long way to go on the defensive end of the floor, but he's talented offensively. Can use ball screens, can make shots, and the biggest thing, can get other people shots. At the 2 right now, Jeffrey Moss, biggest thing with him, again, understanding now your role from last year to this year changes. Every defensive deficiency is going to be magnified. You have to be locked in on the defensive end. But he's done a good job in the offseason developing ability to put the ball down on the floor more. So I'm excited about that. TJ Sapp, won't be eligible until December 17th with Southern Illinois, but gives us a little bit more depth there at the point guard because he'll play some 1. But he also gives us, I think, our best and elite defender with his athleticism and his toughness and his experience. And then C.J. Ford, a great opportunity for C.J. With the loss of Zay Jackson, a great opportunity for him to step in and do some great things at the point. He'll play some 1, he'll play some 2. If we went 3 guards, possibly some 3. They're all interchangeable, really, the way we play 2 and 3. But he's going to have to play, and he's going to have to play some big minutes for us at times at the point, and we expect him to do very well with that. Tyler Rambo over the last week, was a little disappointed with him. I just met with him a couple minutes ago. Was a little disappointed with him early in the preseason, but I think the last week he's really exerted himself. I've played him. I was probably playing him wrong. He needs to be playing facing the basket. He's really a traditional three. We'll have to play four guards at times, and then he'll bump down to the four. But he's done a good job on the defensive end, getting deflections. But the one thing he does, he shot 10 free throws the other day in one of our scrimmages. He has the ability to get to the basket and put pressure on the defense, and that's important. So we're just not a jump shooting team. But, those are the five perimeter guys. We have Cameron, Jeffrey, Tyler Rambo, Dex, and CJ, and then we'll have Sapp, and then we'll move to 10 come December 17th when the finals end. But I'm excited about this team. Our schedule, everybody's talked about our schedule. That's one of the things about the success. The success of this program, it puts you in a position where you have to schedule better. You have to schedule great games, and I think we've done that. A lot of people in this community wanted to play Middle. They wanted to play Evansville. They wanted these rivalries with Southern Illinois. We've given them what they wanted, and now especially with this with the youthfulness of this team, I always say this. I said, if it was 8,300 in here, 8,500 for that St. Mary's game, and that was the best atmosphere you've ever been a part of, why wouldn't you come try to do that every night? Regardless if it's Brescia or it's Valpo or it's, West Kentucky, whoever it may be that comes here. And those teams we play on the road, unfortunately, this year. But Middle, Evansville, Southern Illinois, Lipscomb, and then conference. Why wouldn't you put 8,000, 8,500 in this arena and support these guys? Nick Saban, he talks about it all the time. You're not going to support, you're going to support Murray State. You're going to support those guys regardless of who they compete against. And it's going to be important for this team. They're going to need a good home atmosphere, especially going on the road and playing in some tough environments. So the preseason will be great for us to build and learn, and that's the most exciting thing. I think we may change the way we play at times, every couple weeks we may learn something new about this team because there are a lot of unknowns. But I think it'll help us grow as a coaching staff. I know it will help me grow individually as a coach, and then I think it'll help our team grow from each month. But our main focus right now is to get this team ready to win at Valpo November the 8th on Friday night. Going to be a very tall order, a very tough task. Coach Drew Bryce does a great job up there. But they're similar to us in that they lost a lot of guys from last year's team that they counted on. So excited about this season. Everybody's got questions. I have a lot of questions. There's a lot of unknowns, and we won't know it until we start playing against some outside competition to where we know how we can get this team better. But our main focus is each and every day getting better right now on the defensive end and getting this young group to understand how hard you have to compete at this level to be successful. But I'll open up for questions and go from there.
Do you feel like we're getting better, Coach?
I think the last 2 days of practice, Saturday after watching the tape, it kind of sticks out. Man, we got a lot to do, but I think it defines what you have to do. You're able to have more tunnel vision on what you have to do, because in practice, you're calling plays, everybody knows what's going on. Now they're getting impromptu when you're playing against somebody else, and we have to continue to train them. But I think the last 2 days after playing an outside competition, the last 2 days of practice, their sense of urgency has been a little bit better, and they've understood a little bit more how hard you have to work. And so I've been pleased with that.
What about the chemistry of your team with so many newcomers? Do they seem to enjoy playing?
I just read something, and it made a lot of sense. I said you have a team, and when you have new guys, or whether winning, losing, but you have do you have don't know guys, or do you have don't care guys? If you have don't care guys, then you're in trouble. But I think right now we got a lot of I don't know guys. But that's a good thing, because I just watched film with 3 of them. My assistant coaches are watching film with those guys every morning. They're in here before practice. They're in here after practice, and they're sticking around, and they're wanting to learn. They're wanting to be better. We had a team function last night in Paducah. Sitting around at the table watching games at Buffalo Wild Wings afterwards, and the chemistry's good. Being around those guys, the chemistry's good, but we don't have right now anybody that can say, this is how it's done, and this is what we need to do to get to where we need to be. And that's just going to continue. Only going to come through time and repetition And that's why I tell them, you do 1 million closeouts, so you close out short and don't give up middle, and and you'll be trained to do that. They're not totally trained yet, and they have to totally buy into this is the way to do it, and that's just going to be a process.
Coach, what's the offense and defense going to look like? Is going to be any changes this year?
Yeah, we'll play a little different. We'll play a little different right now early. I really like to play fast. I like to get up and down. We haven't ever been extremely complicated, so to speak. That's what people will say, but and give those guys a lot of freedom. At times we'll have to, because of our depth and because of our numbers early, we may have to walk it up on makes, push on misses, walk it up on makes, depending on the ebb and flow of the games. May have to do a better job and, calling timeouts at times and executing and coming out of times and executing and putting them in positions to be successful. May have to dictate shots at certain times, who needs to get the shots. But the biggest thing is, we've got some guys up front that right now we're selling out right now to really trying to get the ball inside and getting the ball inside and going inside, outside. And then as TJ comes in, now that brings us another perimeter ball handler, so we can start to bring back a lot of things we've done in the past that have been very good for us. So, I told my staff, I said it could change. I read something Doc Rivers said. He said he coached one way for a month, and then he realized, hey, we need to do it this way, and they moved. So I think this team right now, we're learning about this team, what can be successful, and we've got to do a good job. We've got to be very, very detailed this year. If we've been detailed in the past, we've got to be extremely, extremely detailed and very, very organized with these guys and what we tell them, and to keep them focused and locked in. And but defensively, you may see some zone this year. Because of the new rules, I really have to get a feel for how they're going to call the game to see if we have to adjust how we defend ball screens. Do we adjust how we're guarding the basketball? Do we have to play zone? I don't want to play zone, but do we have to play zone? And I won't know a lot of that until we start playing, especially with guys that haven't played before.
You mentioned the new rules. How have the officials called the scrimmages? Have they been strict in their enforcement?
From what I've read on Twitter, they've been calling it like, in the little bit of coaches talk that you hear, people are 60 fouls a game, 80 free throws, but I don't have any, that's just what I've read off Twitter. I don't really have any, we had an inter-squad scrimmage here that, they called some, but they didn't, they let us play too. But it's going to be very different, but I don't think you'll know how different it's going to be until it's a real game, till we're at Valpo and we get one quick hand check. If the rules are the same, Cannon would have shot about 40 free throws a game, the way they make it sound, the way they're going to call it. But that's good for us because on the offensive standpoint, hopefully we can adjust and spread some people out at some point and drive and look to drive the basketball and get the free throw line. But I don't really know until we really start playing some outside opponents in a real game.
Can you talk about the progression of Dex heading into this year, being the only senior, and just kind of the work that he's put in heading into this year?
Yeah, I'm excited about Dex. I met with him this morning. I told him he's doing a great job. He needs to continue to lead. He needs to continue to make shots. And he needs to show these guys. Dexter's been a part of 2 championship teams at UAB and here, his sit-out year, and then his sophomore year at UAB. They played in the NCAA tournament. He had 12 points, I think, in the NCAA tournament game against Clemson. But, he just needs to continue to let these guys understand how hard we have to practice and how hard we have to compete. And that's where we're not at the level we need to be. But I didn't think we would be there right now, with such new personnel.
Bouncing off of that, how has practice been with such a new team?
They've been good. I'm excited to go to practice every day. I love going to practice because we're learning. I'm learning. I think they're learning. I think the practices, we need to rave it, and I'm looking back, I just saw John. I think we need to crank it up another notch or two. I don't think it's where it needs to be, but I think the last 2 days we made strides in getting there.